Well, coasters, I'm heading between Kamara and Arthur's Pass, and I've stopped at Griffin Creek, or Griffin's Creek. Now it's next to Harrington Creek. It's about 1.09 kilometres long. If you go up the creek, take a gold pan with you. There's some nice, quite flaky, grainy gold there. Access is off the main road, which we're on here, and there's a track which starts on the left hand side. There's a 2 or 3 hour walk up there, and there's often deer there. But today I want to talk about what I call the coaster's freight tax. Now it's really special. What it does is every bit of road freight comes with an extra tax or a cost, and that places an increase on every item that ends up in every shop and every supermarket, and it imposes a cost on every item that's exported off the coast. So how does this happen? Well, we have 5 bridges going to Christchurch that are all weight restricted, and trucks have a maximum load of 50 tonnes. Now in other parts of the country, of course, it's 68 tonnes, where the infrastructure is up to standard. So our major exporters like Westco, Western Dairy Company, Silver Fern, all have to forego at peak 18 tonnes on every load across the hill. In other words, instead of taking 68 tonne, they're maxed at 50. It's a coast special tax, which makes every freight truck that goes over this bridge having to leave $720 of freight recovery in Christchurch or back on the coast. And you and me as consumers, we pay this cost directly. Now, how many trucks go between Kamara and Christchurch in a day? Well, we reckon it's about 80. And both ways, that's about 160. So that's $115,200 every day at peak of our special coast tax that every company that is exporting from the coast and our coasters are paying for goods coming to the coast, and we take it on the chin as an extra cost. Now, not every day runs at peak. I accept that, so does everyone else. But I tell you what, in the dairy season, the dairy factory runs at peak. Westco Lagan run at peak. Upgrading the bridging on this State Highway 73 is urgent, and it makes good economic sense. Now you can see the bridge there, it's not very big, not very long. The State Highway 73 retains 5 bridges that are unable to adequately cater to HPMV and a 50-tonne max vehicles. This results in vehicles loaded to an 80% capacity in order to be able to traverse this route. Extended travel routes or unmaximised freight capacity increases the cost of freight, and that makes it inefficient for the business producing the goods through increased travel costs. Makes sense, doesn't it? Improving this route will not only benefit the West Coast, but it'll lead to achieving outcomes sought in the government policy statement for land transport 2021. It supports economic prosperity, and God knows we need it on the coast, as well as assisting with the transition to net zero carbon emissions, because it reduces travel time and volumes. Now NZTA, or Waka Kotahi, has promoted State Highway 7 via the Lewis Pass as the HPMV route for the transport of freight from the West Coast to Canterbury. Now this option is unviable for business located in Grey and Western districts of the West Coast. And the reason's pretty straightforward. It requires several extra hours of travel from the point of origin to destination. several more hours of truck running, staff, fuel, road user taxes, and ultimately cost to the consumer. So State Highway 73 is a pivotal supply chain route for business and communities on the West Coast. Long-term improvements to bridging stock will lead to enhanced business confidence. Now that truck there, it's a Johnson Brothers truck, 50 tonne maximum. Could be taking 68. We don't expect the immediate replacement of these bridges, but we've been pushing NZTA now for 5 years in a row, and everyone nods knowingly, and away they go, and they tell us it doesn't stack up from a national point of view. There are things that are much more important in Auckland. Well, I say bugger Auckland. We need to know that NZTA are planning to address the replacement or strengthening of these bridges over the next 5 to 10 years to bring the route up to a standard suitable for catering for HPMV and 50 tonne maximum vehicles. Keep in mind, these trucks are designed to allow for the safe and more effective transport of freight goods, and the improvement of this route is a pivotal factor for the success of the primary production sector on the West Coast. Remind people again, the bridges requiring strengthening or replacement are Griffin Creek, the Taipo River Bridge, the Big Wainini River Bridge, the Beely Bridge at Klondike, and the Limeworks Bridge at Springfield. Now the biggest one of the lot is Beely, but all 5 are critical, because no matter what happens, unless you do them all, you're still going to be imposing that special coasters tax. Every time you buy an item at the supermarket, there's a few cents in there that you're paying for the privilege of it. There we go, folks, we're at Griffin Creek, and we're talking about getting some bridges replaced, 5 of them to be exact. Catch you later.